Some people walk into a room and start talking. Others walk in and start noticing. Not just the obvious things. They notice the pause before someone answers. The way a smile fades half a second too early. The tone of a voice that sounds normal to everyone else, but slightly off. Most people don't even register these things, but quiet people do. Almost instantly, which raises a strange question. Why do the quietest people in the room often notice the most? Imagine a small group of people sitting together. Everyone is talking at once. Someone is telling a story. Someone else is laughing loudly. Two people are debating something that probably doesn't matter. And then there's one person who isn't saying much. They're listening, watching, not in a creepy way, just quietly present. Their eyes move around the room, their brain picking up tiny details most people miss. Someone's forced to laugh, someone avoiding eye contact, someone checking their phone when a certain topic comes up. They notice all of it, and most people assume something simple. They're quiet. But quiet doesn't mean unaware. Often, it means the exact opposite. Here's something interesting. When people talk less, their brain has more space to observe. Conversation takes a lot of mental energy. Thinking of what to say, waiting for your turn to speak, making sure you sound interesting or funny. All of that fills your attention. But when someone isn't busy performing in the conversation, their attention goes somewhere else. Into the room, into the people, into the small signals everyone else ignores. Pause for a second. Think about the quietest person you know. The one who doesn't speak much in groups. But when they finally say something, it's weirdly accurate. Almost like they've been studying the entire room. That's not an accident. Quiet people are often incredibly observant. They notice tension before anyone says a word. They notice when someone's mood shifts slightly. They notice when someone laughs at a joke, but their eyes don't. And sometimes they even notice things about you before you notice them yourself. But here's the part people rarely talk about. This level of awareness doesn't always come from personality. Sometimes it comes from experience. Many quiet people didn't become observant by accident. They learned it very early in environments where paying attention mattered. Maybe they grew up around unpredictable moods. Maybe they learned to read tone and body language before words. Maybe silence felt safer than speaking, so they watched instead. When a child grows up in that kind of environment, something interesting happens. Their brain becomes incredibly good at detecting emotional signals. A small change in someone's voice, a shift in body language, a pause that feels slightly too long. Their brain starts treating these things like clues, clues about what's about to happen next, and this ability often stays with them for life. They grow into adults who read rooms quickly, adults who notice tension early, adults who can sense when someone is upset, even when that person says they're fine. Which can be a powerful skill, but it also comes with a strange downside, because noticing everything can be exhausting. Imagine walking into a room and instantly feeling everyone's mood. The awkward tension between two friends, the discomfort someone is trying to hide, the subtle frustration in someone's voice. Most people filter those signals out, but quiet observers often don't. They absorb them, and sometimes that makes them look distant, or mysterious, or even shy. But inside their mind, a lot is happening. They're connecting dots, reading patterns, trying to understand what everyone else might be feeling. Here's another pause. Think about the last time someone said something that felt slightly off. Maybe their words sounded normal, but their tone didn't match. Did you notice it? Or did it only become obvious later? Quiet people usually notice it immediately. That's why they often give surprisingly good advice. Because they're not just hearing what people say, they're noticing what people don't say. The hesitation, the contradiction, the emotional subtext hiding underneath the words. But there's something even deeper happening here. Observation often creates empathy. When you spend a lot of time watching people closely, you start understanding them. You see their insecurities, their stress, their moments of vulnerability, and suddenly people's behavior makes more sense. The angry person might actually be overwhelmed. The sarcastic one might be insecure. The loud one might be nervous. Quiet observers start seeing the story behind people's actions, which is why many of them become incredibly compassionate, even toward people who don't deserve it. But here's the twist most people miss. Quiet people aren't always silent because they have nothing to say. Sometimes they're silent because they already understand the situation. They've already read the room. They know which conversations matter and which ones don't. So they choose their words carefully. And when they finally do speak, people often listen because their words feel precise, thoughtful, almost like they were watching everything unfold before saying anything at all. And maybe that's the real reason quiet people notice everything. Not because they're trying to judge anyone, not because they're distant, but because they're present. Fully present in a way most people rarely are. In a world where everyone is rushing to speak, they're paying attention. In a world where people talk over each other, they're listening. In a world where emotions are often hidden behind words, they're noticing what's underneath. And sometimes, the quietest person in the room isn't the least aware. They might actually be the one who understands the most.